question is, we're on an older version of our on-premise solution. Could we migrate now and upgrade our version later? So I'm going to throw this question over to Greg first. So the question is, older version of on-premise, can they migrate now, upgrade later?
Yeah, I would say that it depends on what version that you're on, what system that you're on. And generally, there are certain specifications and requirements to get you migrated over to the cloud. And I think that Sherry's team is probably better to answer that question in terms of kind of specifics. But in general, it makes more sense to make sure that you're fairly current on your current application before you migrate over. In some cases,
And Sherry,
you can.
Yeah, Sherry, do you want to go ahead and comment on that one for us?
Sure, absolutely. From a visual standpoint, if you're running Visual version 9 and above, we can absolutely migrate you to a hosted environment. The Aptrix hosting environments support those versions. Anything prior to that, however, prior to version 9 would require an upgrade at this point in time.
Perfect. Thank you, Sherry. So to go along with that, we have another question. It's interesting. There's kind of themes to them, so I'll try to keep them as connected as possible for you guys. But so how would we ensure ERP updates don't negatively impact our current processes and operations? So Sherry, do you want to take that one as well?
Yeah, from hosting, I think the answers are different depending if you're going to a hosted environment or a multi-tenant environment. But in a hosted environment, we can put these into a test environment, a test database. So with Aptrix, we support 3 different environments, one for production, one for test. And then if you have heavy duty developers, we can set up a development environment for you as well. But typically we'll put any new updates that you're worried about into a test environment, run them through its paces, and then move them to production when you're ready. I don't know if someone from the multi-tenant side wants to answer it from that perspective.
Yeah, maybe Ben, do you wanna touch on this one?
Yeah, we in the cloud, we provide a similar setup with multiple environments, allowing you to kind of build out new functionality and processes in a test or development environment. Any new features coming to the cloud are also behind a feature management wall. So it allows you to kind of onboard new functionality as your company's ready for it and sees fit, as opposed to being forced into using new features and functions.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Just looking, lots of really good questions coming in. So we have a question around, is our data stored in a queryable location? Can I connect things like Power BI or Microsoft Access to the database? I'll guide that one to you, Ben, since you're the more technical one of the team here today.
Yeah, we certainly provide a number of different options for getting to the data. There are querying tools built into the tool set itself, but then you can also integrate to tools like Power BI or leverage the built-in analytics like Burst to get at the data and do some analytics.
Perfect. Sherry, this one's gonna be for you. We have on-save macros that are installed in our Visual database. Will they work in a cloud version of Visual?
Yes, in the hosted version, absolutely. You know, we work very closely with the WM Synergy Visual technical team to make sure that we run these, you know, tested them, make sure they work. But everything should come over without any issue. We haven't had any issues so far, knock on wood.
Perfect. And then another question that would be a good one for you, Sherry. So they're asking, can you host Infor Visual in the cloud? And if so, what version? Is there kind of a minimum version that they need to be on, or one that we would recommend?
Yes, that's the version 9 that I was just referring to. So if they're at a minimum of version 9 or above, we're good to support the OS equal levels without any issue. Our because of different OS levels are coming to end of life, we are not supporting anything that's on 2012 or older. So starting at 2016 or older, sorry, 2019 and above, we should be good to go.
Perfect. We have a few questions around like service providers. Someone's saying their service provider has recommended that they stay on-prem. Is there any particular reason why they would suggest that? And Greg, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can. Generally, that's not an unusual statement that we hear from managed service providers, and I think I spoke to it a little bit on one of the slides that I had, that generally those managed service providers are providing you and selling you your new servers. They're selling you the SQL licenses, operating licenses, all of the things that are generally bundled into a SaaS subscription. And honestly, there are a lot of our customers here that have contracts with their managed service providers. It's X amount of dollars a month, and we often see that a lot of the services that providing their customers on a weekly or monthly basis are no longer needed because their core applications are hosted in a cloud environment. So that's my main reason, because there really is no bad reason to host your ERP, especially in today's cyber world, where I've seen way too many of our customers get affected by ransomware and cyber attacks, and it's extremely disruptive. There are many of our companies cannot run at all if their ERP is down. So in the vast majority of our customers don't have the resources, whether it's people or budget, to come anywhere near the level of effectiveness that they have against cybersecurity threats.
Thank you, Greg. We have a question just around what's the best way to get a rough price estimate without a full quoting process? Is there someone I can speak to just get kind of a rough number to start from? So kind of speaking to like the planning aspect. So Greg, I'll refer to you here. What would you recommend? They don't want the full quote process. They just kind of want a rough estimate.
I'd recommend talking to whoever your account rep is, assuming that you're either a Sightline or an Infor visual customer, and they generally will be able to give you rough estimates on what it costs. They'll look at things like how many sites you have, how many users will need to access the system, how many actual ERP users will need to be accessing the system, in order to kind of give you kind of some ideas based on other quotes that they've done for other companies in the past. But once you get to that point, and if those numbers look good to you, we'll probably want to do a little bit of a deep dive and evaluate your current infrastructure and software footprint to make that a much more accurate quote.
Perfect. Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you're a current WM Synergy customer, you're welcome to get in contact with your account rep. But we will have someone follow up with everyone from this webinar. So we'll have that follow-up email, and then we'll also have members of our team follow up with you as well to get you whatever you may need. So if that is kind of like a rough price estimate, so you can begin your planning in regards to cloud migration, we're happy to do that. So we got lots of people on staff that can help you kind of price that out, and so you can do some budgeting around that. Just looking, we have just a couple more questions. Is there a single sign-on for the cloud? So I'm going to refer that. Ben, do you want to go first? And then Sherry, if you need to, whoever wants to take that one.
Yeah, so there's a number of single sign-on options, and quite often we will work with your pre-existing system whether it's Okta or a similar service. So we integrate with all those kind of leaders in that space.
Perfect. Awesome, thank you. We have a couple questions just around kind of like data and how it's stored in the cloud. So I'm going to try to kind of combine a few of these here. So specific to visual, so where are visual generated documents stored now? Can they still be on a file server? Then we have a kind of a more general, if we have data hosted in the cloud, is it our own? So first the visual question, and I'll give that one, Greg, to you because I know that you have maybe some experience there. So visual generated documents, where are they stored now, and can they still be on a file server?
I think it depends on how many, Sherry. Some companies will have a separate file server available to them, but otherwise it can be stored right alongside visual. I think Sherry would be better to answer that question.
Yeah, that's correct. And we have both scenarios set up, and it really does depend on the volume. And so it's kind of circling back to one of the previous questions from the Aptrix side. There is a cloud assessment that we will do to make sure that we right size your environment and right price your environment. So as part of that assessment, we take deeper dives into those things as well, just to make sure we know that they exist and discuss where you want to store them, talk about the pros and cons of both. So every scenario may be slightly different. So it does require some kind of dialogue and conversation and reviewing of the pros and cons. But yeah, a good number of our customers have put them, on an Aptrix server, and some have kept them local. So it really just depends.
Kind of, we can accommodate different needs, I guess, in a sense. Perfect. Just so related to that one, and I didn't want to skip over it, but someone's asking, do we own our data if it's hosted in the cloud? Ben, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, the answer to that's pretty simple. You will always own your data. That doesn't change when you go to the cloud.
Correct.
Good.